let's start with the game last night. Most hockey I have watched, I don't think I've watched a full hockey game like I watched last night ever. And I watched that thing from start to finish, folks. The Panthers and Edmonton Oilers lived up to the billing. A one-goal game for the majority of the game. Opened up the scoring Florida, followed by an Edmonton goal, and then the final score ends up being 2-1. Sergei Bobrovsky just had a huge, huge game, stopping goals left and right in the second and third period. One of the more impressive goaltender performances, but let's just call it what it is, a historical series with the Panthers going up 3-0, the Oilers coming back to tie it at 3, and inevitably needing the Game 7 and needing both goals to end up winning the Stanley Cup and the championship. So there you go. The NHL season comes to an end, and you've just never seen anything like this on an NHL graphic, with the first team winning 3 games, the next team winning the other 3 games, and then it coming down to one goal in the end. Just an incredible series and a great series for the NHL. I can't wait to see what the ratings end up being for this game. Meanwhile, put a bow on the career of their head coach, Paul Maurice. Maurice, of course, took over under unfortunate circumstances a couple of years ago, but naturally, after getting to the finals and coming up short last year, was extremely emotional about winning this year.
So in our small little world down here, these guys had to work really, really hard, which makes no sense because there isn't a Stanley Cup champion that didn't, right? We're all saying the exact same thing. This was so hard. This group was different from the time I called them 2 years ago. I kept getting off the phone going, these guys are different. And I think that you people would appreciate it, truly appreciate it. Because let's just say I'm an ass. And you got to deal with me because I'm in pro sports and I'm the coach, and my guys aren't like that to deal with. They aren't like that for me to deal with.
Funny for Maurice. So it went from a championship to theater of the bizarre, because you don't see this that often. In fact, in professional sports, you almost never see a team celebrating on the ice for the championship, and then they give what's called the Conn Smythe Trophy out to the best player throughout the playoffs, and it's not a player on the championship team. In fact, it was a player on the other team. In this case, it was Conor McDavid. He ends up winning the Conn Smythe. Now, I mean, in the final, I mean, McDavid, extremely quiet for the beginning and the end, and was the best player in the NHL in the middle. So I guess this is what happens in pro sports. Gary Bettman made the announcement. It looked like the stands, like everyone in the crowd was like, what? This is sort of bizarre. You know, some people, don't understand that the Conn Smythe is for the entire playoffs, by the way, not just the final. McDavid talked about winning that after the game.
You knew it was going to be tight, Game 7 for the Cup. You knew it was going to be a real tight game, and it was going to come down to one thing here and there. And, we're an inch away from going ahead 2-1 right before they go ahead 2-1. And, it's tough. They do a good job of shutting things down, and we had our looks. Just didn't find it. Yeah, really proud, proud of the way we fought all year. We were behind the 8 ball almost immediately, and we fought an uphill climb for months and months and months, and just sucks. Yeah, goes back to the character of the group that we showed all year long. We showed all year long that we could fight back, even in the most dire situations, and obviously tough to be down 3, and tough to string 4 in a row against a good team like that. But we were right there. Obviously, I guess an honor with the names on that trophy, but yeah.
Tough night for Connor McDavid, but he's got the MVP a couple different times. Nothing to worry about for him and his future. Meanwhile, the Oilers and Panthers are among the favorites to win the Cup next year. The draft's coming up for the NHL as well. Panthers are the very slight favorite, 9-1 right now over on FanDuel, to win the Cup again, followed by the Hurricanes and Avalanche, and then you have the Oilers and Dallas Stars. Meanwhile, in the NFL, the end has come for Isaiah Buggs, the defensive lineman for the Kansas City Chiefs. This guy's been all kinds of trouble. domestic violence issue back in Alabama in June. He was charged with misdemeanor counts of second-degree animal cruelty in May. Bugs is going to be looking for a new team, but got to get himself out of this legal trouble that he has in. Meanwhile, Major League Soccer's attendance is up tremendously, 12% from 2023. 6.5 million fans have attended a total of 279 MLS matches, 700,000 more fans in the same date in 2023. And by the way, not just Inter Miami with Messi, also Kansas City, New England, and Vancouver all seeing more fans. So naturally, a lot of teams are rising by more than 10% attendance. The Chicago Fire, Sporting KC, of course, Inter Miami, and Orlando, LA, New York, and Montreal. So really good news for the MLS. Also, Charlotte City Council has announced a $800 million plan with the Carolina Panthers to renovate Bank of America Stadium. They're going to stay there at least until 2045. It needs an upgrade. The plan was approved 7-3 on a vote on Monday night, and the city will pay most of the renovation costs under the plan, and David Tepper, the owner of the Panthers, will pay $150 million for the renovations. All right, so College World Series didn't want to have to play on the same night as the Stanley Cup Final, but that's just kind of what happened yesterday. It's not that we're sweeping it under the rug. It's just it was a crazy night for hockey. But 6-5 the final yesterday. Congrats, Tennessee Volunteers. They take the World Series title in college. Christian Moore hit a leadoff home run. Dylan Dreiling went deep for the third time in 3 games. He's been great. And 6-5 victory. It was really exciting down the stretch. I was kind of going back and forth, and this is hard to change away from the NHL. Volunteers lost game 1. They end up winning. They're the first #1 national seed, by the way, in the NCAA tournament to win since Miami in 1999. Also yesterday in baseball, you probably missed this. Trailing 4-0, the Tigers had a chance to get a little bit of a rally going, and then the Phillies turned a 1-3-5 triple play, first time since 1929. Telling you about it shows no justice. My recommendation would be to YouTube this. You can find it yourself. Last night, Jurickson Profar walk-off hit for the Padres. They were down 3 runs in the bottom of the ninth. They end up winning 7-6, although Fernando Tatis Jr. was placed on the injured list. So some good news and bad news for the Padres. They're hoping to get Tatis back immediately after the All-Star break. NBA, we've got some potential free agent signings. Rumor mill time for the NBA. Scotty Barnes of the Toronto Raptors looks like he's going to ink a 5-year maximum rookie contract extension up to $270 million. That would make him the highest player in Raptors history. Chris Finch and the Timberwolves, after their great season, they've agreed on a new deal. It will be a 4-year contract. Don't have any of the financials yet there. Also, Darica Hamby has been named a replacement for Cameron Brink on the U.S. 3x3 team for Paris at the Olympics. And Caitlin Clark has won the Honda Cup for the nation's top NCAA women's athlete for not just what they do on the court, but also their leadership, academic excellence, and eagerness to participate in community service. So congrats to her. WNBA rolling on.